Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, the TFS Liberty. He watched the stars through the big window. His crew had been exploring space for 3 months now. They were looking for new worlds that humans could live on. "Captain," said Lieutenant Amy Walsh from her station, "we're picking up something strange on the sensors." Jake walked over to look at her screen. There were dots moving toward them. Big dots. "How many ships?" he asked. "At least 20, sir. Maybe more. They're huge." Jake felt his stomach tighten. The Liberty was just an exploration ship. It had some weapons, but not many. If these aliens wanted to fight, his crew would be in trouble. "Open a communication channel," Jake said. "Let's see if they want to talk." The main screen lit up. An alien face appeared. It looked like a mix between a lizard and an insect. Its skin was dark green with purple spots. 4 eyes stared at Jake, and its mouth had too many sharp teeth. "I am Commander Zixthara of the NIGMA Empire," the alien said. Its voice was like metal scraping on stone. "You will allow me to board your vessel. We must speak." Jake looked at his crew. They all looked scared. He didn't blame them. "This is Captain Morrison of the Terran Federation. You're welcome to come aboard for peaceful talks." Peaceful. The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "Yes, we will discuss peace." An hour later, Commander Zixthara walked onto the Liberty. The alien was even more frightening in person. It was 8 feet tall and moved like a hunting cat. Behind it came 4 more NIGMA soldiers. They carried weapons that hummed with energy. Jake met them in the main meeting room. With him were Dr. Sam Rodriguez, the ship's science officer, and communications officer Beth Cameron. Jake had also called Admiral Lisa Carter on Earth. Her face appeared on the wall screen. "Welcome aboard," Jake said, trying to sound calm. "I'm Captain Morrison. This is Admiral Carter, who speaks for all humans." Zixthara sat down. The chair creaked under its weight. "Humans," it said, tasting the word. "A young species. We have watched you spread to 50 star systems. This concerns us." "Concerns you how?" Admiral Carter asked from the screen. "This galaxy belongs to the NIGMA Empire," Zixthara said. "We have ruled here for 3,000 of your years. All species must serve us or die. There is no third choice." "Doctor." Rodriguez leaned forward. "What do you mean by serve?" The alien's 4 eyes focused on him. "We harvest what we need from lesser species. Their bodies, their minds, their worlds. Everything has value to the Empire." Jake felt sick. "You're talking about slavery and murder." "We prefer the term resource management," Zixthara said. "Many species have joined us willingly once they understood the alternative." "And if they don't join?" Beth asked. "Then they cease to exist." The alien's teeth showed in what might have been a smile. "We are very good at making species disappear." "Admiral." Carter's face was hard on the screen. "What exactly are you asking of humanity?" "You will gather all your people and return to your home world," Zixthara said. "There you will serve the Empire. We will take what we need from you. In return, we will allow some of you to live." The room went quiet. Jake could hear his own heartbeat. "And if we refuse?" "Then you will join the 47 other species that chose poorly." The alien stood up. "You have 30 of your days to decide. We suggest you choose wisely." Jake stood up too. He was much smaller than the alien, but he looked it in the eyes. "Let me make something clear, Commander. Humans don't bow to bullies. We don't become slaves. And we don't abandon our homes because someone threatens us. Your bravery is admirable," Zixthara said, "and pointless. We have destroyed civilizations far older and stronger than yours." "Maybe," Jake said, "but they weren't human. We've seen what you do to other species. We know what joining you really means." So here's our answer. Leave us alone, or you'll regret it. The alien made that scraping laugh sound again. Regret? From creatures who have barely learned to leave their birth world. You amuse me, human. Dr. Rodriguez spoke up. Captain, I'm reading some strange energy patterns from their equipment. It's like nothing in our databases. Zixthara looked at the doctor with interest. Your scientist has good eyes. What you detect is harvesting technology. It converts living matter into forms we can use. Very efficient. That's horrible, Beth said. That is survival, the alien replied. The strong take from the weak. This is the way of the universe. Admiral Carter's voice cut through the tension. Commander Zixthara, let me be very clear. Humanity rejects your offer. We will not surrender our freedom or our worlds. If you attack us, we will defend ourselves. With what? The alien gestured at the liberty around them. This toy ship? Your primitive weapons? You understand nothing of real power. Jake stepped closer to the alien. Maybe not. But we understand something you don't. We know how to fight for what matters. And we never give up. 30 days, Zixthara said, moving toward the door. Use them to say goodbye to your families. The NIGMA Empire has spoken. After the aliens left, Jake sat down heavily. His hands were shaking. Lisa, did you get all that? Every word, Admiral Carter said from the screen. I'm calling an emergency meeting of the Federation Council. We need to prepare for war. Dr. Rodriguez was looking at his scanner. Captain, those energy readings are still here. It's like their technology left some kind of trace. What kind of trace? Jake asked. I'm not sure, but it's affecting our ship's systems. Small changes, but they're there. Beth looked up from her station. Sir, I'm detecting more NIGMA ships jumping into the system. A lot more. Jake walked back to the main window. In the distance, he could see lights moving among the stars. The NIGMA fleet was growing larger. Send a message to all Federation worlds, he told Beth. Tell them what happened here. Tell them the NIGMA Empire wants us dead or enslaved. And tell them we said no. What else should I tell them? Beth asked. Jake watched the alien ships gathering in space. Soon, those ships would bring death to human worlds. But humans had never backed down from a fight when their freedom was at stake. Tell them to get ready, Jake said quietly. Tell them the war is coming. Far away on Earth, Admiral Carter was already making the same preparations. The NIGMA Empire was about to learn something new about humans. They were about to discover that some species fought back in ways no one expected. The 30-day countdown had begun. 21 days had passed since the meeting with Commander Zixthara. Tom Bradley was fixing a mining machine when the sirens started screaming across New Kansas Colony. All civilians to the shelters, came the voice over the speakers. This is not a drill. All civilians to the underground shelters now. Tom dropped his tools and ran toward the colony center. Around him, families were rushing from their homes with bags and children. The sky above them was starting to change color. Ships were coming down from space. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Walsh stood at the colony's main gate. She had only 50 soldiers with her. New Kansas was a mining world, not a military base. They weren't ready for a real fight. How many ships? Tom asked as he reached her. Too many, Amy said, looking through her binoculars. At least 100. Maybe more. They're surrounding the whole planet. The first NIGMA ship landed in the field outside town. It was huge and black, with strange symbols glowing on its sides. More ships came down behind it. Soon the field was full of alien vessels. Get the people underground, Amy told Tom. We'll hold them as long as we can. Tom nodded and ran toward the shelters. Behind him, He could hear Amy giving orders to her soldiers. They were brave, but 50 humans against thousands of aliens wouldn't last long. The NIGMA soldiers came, out of their ships in perfect lines. They looked like the ones Jake Morrison had described in his warning message. Big, scary, and carrying weapons that hummed with power. Amy's soldiers opened fire first. Their bullets hit the aliens, but didn't seem to hurt them much. The NIGMA had some kind of armor or shields. Then the aliens used their special weapon. Amy had read about it in the reports from the Liberty. The harvesting technology that turned living things into crystal. A green beam shot out from the lead NIGMA ship. It hit the ground near Amy's position. Where the beam touched, the grass and dirt started to change. It became hard and shiny, like green glass. "Fall back," Amy shouted. "Don't let that beam touch you." But something strange happened. One of Amy's soldiers, a young man named Pete Martinez, didn't run fast enough. The green beam hit him directly. Amy expected to see him turn into crystal like the ground. Instead, Pete stood there looking confused. The beam was still hitting him, but nothing was happening. The energy seemed to be going into him, but he wasn't changing. "Pete, get out of there," Amy yelled. Pete turned toward her. His eyes were glowing with the same green light as the alien beam. He raised his rifle and fired at the NIGMA ship. The bullet shouldn't have been able to hurt it. The ship exploded. Amy stared. Pete stared. Even the NIGMA soldiers stopped moving and stared. "What just happened?" Pete asked. His eyes were back to normal now. More green beams shot from other ships. They hit Amy's soldiers. But instead of turning them into crystal, the same thing happened. The soldiers absorbed the energy somehow. And when they fired back, their weapons suddenly worked much better. In the underground shelters. Dr. Kate Williams was watching everything on the colony's security cameras. She was a scientist who had come to New Kansas to study the minerals there. Now she was watching something impossible happen. "The energy conversion isn't working on humans," she said to herself. But why? Tom Bradley was helping get the last families into the shelters when he saw Dr. Williams talking to herself. "Doc, what's going on up there?" "I'm not sure," Kate said, "but our people aren't dying. The alien weapon isn't working on us the way it should." On the surface, the battle was getting stranger. More NIGMA ships were landing, but their main weapon wasn't working. Worse, every time they used it on humans, it seemed to make the humans stronger. Amy Walsh had figured out something important. "Don't run from the beams," she told her soldiers. "Let them hit you, then shoot back right away." It sounded crazy, but it worked. The green beams would hit a human soldier. The soldier would glow for a second. Then their weapons would become incredibly powerful. NIGMA ships were exploding all over the field. High above the planet, War Prime Hicks Nara watched the battle from his command ship. He had conquered over 50 worlds using the same tactics. The harvesting beams had never failed before. "What is wrong with these creatures?" he asked his officers. "Why are they not converting?" "Unknown, War Prime," came the reply. "Should we use different weapons?" "No. Increase the beam power. Use everything we have." More ships joined the attack. The green beams got brighter and stronger. But the result was the same. The humans absorbed the energy and used it against the NIGMA. Amy Walsh was starting to understand what was happening. Every time the alien energy hit her or her soldiers, she felt strange, stronger, like she could see things more clearly. And somehow, she knew exactly where to aim to hurt the alien ships. "Tom," she called on her radio, "tell Dr. Williams we need her up here. Something's happening to us, and we need to understand what." Tom found Kate in the shelter, still watching the screens. "Doc, Amy needs you up there." "It's too dangerous," Kate said. Look at the screen, Tom pointed. Our people are winning. I don't know how, but they're winning. Kate looked. It was true. Half the NIGMA ships were destroyed or damaged. The aliens were actually pulling back. She grabbed her equipment and followed Tom to the surface. What she saw amazed her. Human soldiers were standing in the green beams like they were warm sunlight. Their weapons were glowing with the same energy. And every shot they fired hit exactly where it needed to. Amy, Kate called. I need to scan you, right now. Amy ran over, still glowing slightly from the last beam that hit her. Kate pointed her scanner at her and gasped. Your DNA is changing, Kate said. Not in a bad way. It's like the alien energy is unlocking something that was already there. What do you mean? Amy asked. I mean, humans might not be as normal as we thought, Kate replied. The battle continued for 6 hours. By the end, most of the NIGMA ships were destroyed. The few that survived flew back into space. War Prime Hixnara's perfect weapon had not only failed, it had made the humans stronger. In the shelter, families came up to see their loved ones. They expected to find bodies or crystals. Instead, they found soldiers who looked the same but felt different, stronger, more aware. Pete Martinez hugged his wife. I'm okay, he told her. Better than okay? I feel like I can see everything more clearly. Your eyes, she said. They're different, brighter. Kate Williams was taking readings from all the soldiers. The results were the same every time. The alien energy had changed something in their genetic code. Something that had been sleeping was now awake. I need to send this data to Earth, she told Amy. General Pete Jackson and the other commanders need to know what happened here. Amy nodded. Around them, the colonists were coming out to see the destroyed alien ships. New Kansas had been attacked by a force that should have wiped them out easily. Instead, they had won. What happens now? Tom asked. Amy looked up at the sky. More ships were probably coming. The NIGMA Empire wouldn't give up after one defeat. Now we get ready for the next attack, she said. And we figure out what we've become. On Earth, General Pete Jackson received Kate's report. He read it 3 times before he believed it. Then he called Admiral Lisa Carter. Lisa, he said, you need to see this. The aliens attacked New Kansas today. Are they okay? Lisa asked. They're more than okay. They won. And according to this report, they did something that should be impossible. Pete sent the data to Lisa's computer. She read it in silence. If this is true, she said finally, then the NIGMA Empire just made a very big mistake. What do you mean? They didn't just attack us, Pete. They woke something up. Something that's been sleeping in human DNA for a very long time. In space above New Kansas, the surviving NIGMA ships regrouped. War Prime Hixnara sent a message back to the Empire. The humans are not what they appear, he reported. Our harvesting technology does not work on them. Request immediate reinforcements. The reply came back quickly. Impossible. Increase power and try again. Hixnara looked at the human colony below. The creatures down there had just destroyed half his fleet. His perfect weapon had made them stronger instead of killing them. For the first time in his long military career, War Prime Hixnara was afraid. Dr. Kate Williams worked day and night in her lab on Earth. The samples from New Kansas had arrived 3 days ago. What she found in the human DNA made her hands shake as she typed her report. General Jackson, she called on her communication. Device, you need to come down here right away. Pete Jackson arrived 20 minutes later with Dr. Alex Turner, Earth's top geneticist. They found Kate staring at a screen full of complex data. What did you find? Pete asked. Something incredible. Kate said, Look at this DNA sample from Amy Walsh. See these markers here? They're not normal human genetics. Alex Turner leaned closer. What are they? They're quantum markers, Kate said. Humans have been carrying dormant quantum manipulation genes for thousands of years. The NIGMA energy didn't hurt our people. It woke up abilities we didn't know we had. Pete frowned. Quantum manipulation? What does that mean in simple terms? Kate pointed to another screen. It means humans can affect reality at the smallest level. We can change how energy and matter behave, but only when something triggers the ability, like alien harvesting beams? Alex asked. Exactly. The NIGMA technology is quantum-based. When it hits humans, instead of converting us, it activates our quantum genes. We absorb their energy and can redirect it. Pete's radio crackled. General Jackson, this is Colonel Ryan Brooks on New Harmony Colony. We need immediate backup. NIGMA forces are attacking. I'm sending reinforcements, Pete replied. Hold your position. Sir, that's not why I called. We don't need backup. We're winning. But something strange is happening to my soldiers. Kate grabbed Pete's arm. Let me talk to him. Pete handed her the radio. Colonel Brooks, this is Dr. Williams. Describe what you're seeing. Doc, my people aren't just absorbing the alien beams anymore. They're doing things without being hit first. Private Dan Kelly just destroyed 3 ships by pointing at them. Sergeant Mia Thompson walked through a solid wall to get behind enemy lines. Kate looked at Alex with wide eyes. The abilities are getting stronger. The quantum field is expanding. What does that mean? Pete asked. It means every human who gets exposed becomes a quantum manipulator. And the more they use the ability, the stronger it gets. Far away in space, Commander Zixthara stood on the bridge of her flagship. She had been promoted after War Prime Hixnara disappeared near Jupiter with the entire Third Fleet, not destroyed, disappeared, gone without a trace. Status report, she ordered. 14 more colonies have been attacked, her officer replied. All attacks have failed. Human resistance is getting stronger with each battle. How is this possible? Zixthara asked. They are a primitive species. They should have been converted or destroyed by now. Perhaps we should retreat and study them more, the officer suggested. Zixthara's 4 eyes focused on him. The NIGMA Empire does not retreat. We have ruled this galaxy for 3,000 years. No species has ever defeated us. But these humans are different. Our scouts report that entire star systems are becoming unstable where human forces have been present. Unstable how? The quantum fields are changing. Space itself is becoming hostile to our technology. On Earth, Ambassador Carol Stevens was meeting with representatives from 12 different alien species. They had all been conquered by the NIGMA centuries ago. Now they were secretly offering help to humanity. Your species has done something. Impossible, said the Kelrani ambassador, a being that looked like a walking tree. The NIGMA have never lost a war. We didn't try to start a war, Carol replied. They attacked us. And now they are afraid, added the Zephyrian representative, who looked like a blue dolphin with arms. For the first time in our history, the NIGMA are retreating from battles. A Morvian delegate, resembling a large spider, spoke up. Our scouts report that NIGMA ships are dissolving when they get too close to human forces. Not destroyed, dissolved. As if they ceased to exist. Carol looked worried. What does that mean? It means your species produces an effect that breaks down NIGMA biology and technology at the molecular level, Kelrani said. You are like poison to them. Back in her lab, Kate Williams was discovering the same thing. She had been studying captured NIGMA technology with Alex Turner. Every piece they examined fell apart when humans got close to it. Look at this. Alex said, holding up what used to be a NIGMA weapon. It was working fine an hour ago. Now it's just metal and crystal fragments. It's the quantum field, Kate explained. Humans are generating a field that's incompatible with NIGMA, quantum structures. The closer we get, the faster their technology breaks down. Her computer beeped with an incoming message. It was from Captain Jake Morrison, now commanding a battle fleet near the edge of NIGMA space. Dr. Williams, Jake said on the screen, we've got a problem. My ship's just found 3 NIGMA planets. They're empty. Not destroyed. Empty. Like everyone just vanished. Kate felt cold. Send me all the data you have. An hour later, Kate was staring at the readings from Jake's ships. The quantum signature around those planets was pure human. But no human forces had been there. Alex, she called. Look at this. The quantum field is spreading faster than our ships can travel. How is that possible? I think it's not just individual humans anymore, Kate said slowly. I think humanity as a whole is generating a quantum effect that spreads through space, and it's toxic to the NIGMA. Pete Jackson arrived just in time to hear this. Toxic how? Fatal, Kate said. The quantum field we're producing is breaking down NIGMA biology at a distance. They don't need to fight us anymore. Just being in the same part of space is killing them. All of them? Pete asked. Kate nodded. Every NIGMA in range of the human. Quantum field is dissolving. Their ships, their people, their technology. Everything. Alex looked at the data again. How far does this field extend? Based on these readings, it's already covered half the galaxy. And it's still growing. Pete sat down heavily. We warned them to leave us alone. This isn't our fault, Kate said. We didn't know this would happen. We didn't even know we could do this. Try telling that to the NIGMA, Pete replied. Wait, we can't. According to this data, there might not be any left. On the NIGMA homeworld, Emperor Vexenol felt the quantum field approaching like a wave of death. His greatest scientists worked desperately to find a solution. But NIGMA technology was useless against the human effect. How long do we have? He asked. Days, Your Majesty. Maybe hours. The field dissolves everything it touches. Our people, our cities, our ships, nothing can stop it. Send a message to the humans, the Emperor ordered. Tell them we surrender. Tell them we will leave their space and never return. A message will not arrive in time, his scientist replied. The field moves faster than our communications. Commander Zixthara received the Emperor's order just as her own ship began to dissolve around her. The walls were turning to dust. Her crew was fading away like shadows. This is impossible, she said to herself. We are the NIGMA Empire. We rule this galaxy. But the quantum field didn't care about the NIGMA Empire. It washed over their ships like invisible fire. In minutes, the most powerful fleet in the galaxy became empty space. Back on Earth, Jake Morrison's latest report arrived. The entire NIGMA fleet is gone, he said. Not destroyed. Gone. Like they were never there. Kate Williams looked at her readings. The quantum field was still expanding. Soon it would cover the entire galaxy. And every NIGMA it touched would simply stop existing. We need to find a way to control this, she told Alex. If we can't stop it, we might dissolve other species too. The other aliens seem to be fine, Alex pointed out. The field only affects the NIGMA. For now, Kate said. But what if it changes? What if it starts affecting everyone? Pete Jackson was asking the same question. The reports coming in showed that the NIGMA Empire was disappearing system by system. Planets that had been occupied for centuries were suddenly free, but their liberators were invisible and unstoppable. Dr. Williams, he called. Can we stop this field? I don't know, Kate replied. We're still learning how it works. But Pete, there's something else. The field isn't just destroying the NIGMA. It's changing space itself, making it more suitable for human-type life. What do you mean? I mean, everywhere the field goes, planets become more Earth-like. The quantum changes are making the galaxy more comfortable for humans and human allies. Pete thought about this. So we're not just defeating the NIGMA. We're terraforming the entire galaxy? It looks that way. In her private quarters, Ambassador Carol Stevens received a message from the alien species she had been meeting with. They were no longer afraid. The NIGMA Empire was ending, and they were free for the first time in centuries. But they had a new concern. Humanity had just proven it had the power to make entire civilizations disappear. The other species were grateful, but also worried. What kind of neighbors would humans be? Carol composed a reply. Humanity hadn't meant to destroy the NIGMA. They had only defended themselves. But now they had to live with the consequences of their hidden power. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was responsible for what came next. 6 months had passed since the first NIGMA attack. Admiral Lisa Carter stood in the command center on Earth, watching reports from across the galaxy. The war that was supposed to destroy humanity had become something else entirely. Status report, she called to her staff. Ma'am, the liberation of the Kepler sector is complete, reported Major Dan Kelly. No NIGMA forces remain. Local species are emerging from hiding. Any human casualties? None, Admiral. Our forces didn't even need to fire weapons. The NIGMA ships dissolved before they could get close enough to fight. Lisa nodded. It was the same story everywhere. Human ships would arrive at NIGMA-controlled worlds. A quantum field would do its work, and entire occupation forces would simply vanish. General Pete Jackson joined her at the command table. Lisa, we need to talk about what's happening out there. I know what's happening, Pete. We're winning, are we? Look at these reports from Dr. Williams. The quantum field is still growing. It's not just affecting NIGMA anymore. Lisa pulled up the latest data on her screen. Kate Williams and Alex Turner had been studying the quantum field for months. Their latest report was troubling. The field is evolving, Lisa read aloud. What started as a defense against NIGMA harvesting technology has become something much larger. It's rewriting the quantum structure of space itself. What does that mean for us? Pete asked. It means we're not just fighting a war anymore. We're changing the galaxy, whether we want to or not. Far away, on the edge of what used to be NIGMA space, Commander Zixthara made her final desperate attempt to save her people. She had gathered the last surviving NIGMA fleet, only 50 ships out of the thousands they once had. This is our final chance, she told her officers. We will strike directly at the human homeworld. If we can destroy Earth, perhaps the quantum field will stop. Her science officer, Cax Hari, looked at the data. Commander, our ships are already showing signs of breakdown. The human field extends far beyond their solar system now. Then we will have to work quickly, Zixthara replied. Set course for Earth. Maximum speed. On Earth, the early warning systems detected the approaching NIGMA fleet. But there was no panic in the command center. Everyone knew what would happen. Captain Jake Morrison was in space aboard his flagship, the TFS Defiance. His crew included Pilot Major Dan Kelly, Engineer Chief Lucy Parks, and Tactical Officer Lieutenant Ron Baker. They were positioned between Earth and the approaching NIGMA fleet. Contact in 30 minutes, reported Communications Specialist Sergeant Mia Thompson. Jake looked at his crew. They had all been changed by the quantum field. They could feel it around them like a warm blanket. And they could sense the NIGMA. Ships approaching like spots of cold in space. Should we intercept them? Asked Ron Baker. No need, Jake replied. They won't make it past Jupiter. He was right. The NIGMA fleet began dissolving as soon as it entered the outer solar system. Ship after ship simply faded away, their quantum structure unable to exist in the human-dominated space. Commander Zixtara watched her fleet disappear around her. Her own ship was coming apart at the molecular level. The walls were becoming transparent, then turning to dust. Impossible, she whispered. A NIGMA empire has ruled for 3,000 years. We cannot be defeated by primitives. But the quantum field didn't care about NIGMA history. Zixtara's final transmission reached Earth just as her ship completed its dissolution. You have doomed us all, her voice said through the static. The galaxy will never be safe from your kind. And there was silence. On Earth, President Joe Franklin called an emergency meeting of the Terran Federation Council. Leaders from all 50 human worlds gathered in person or by video link. The NIGMA Empire is finished, he announced. Our intelligence services confirm that no organized NIGMA forces remain anywhere in the galaxy. There was no cheering. The victory felt too strange, too complete. Admiral Carter stood to address the council. The question now is what we do next, she said. We have accidentally become the dominant power in this galaxy. Other species are looking to us for leadership. What about the quantum field? Asked the representative from New Mars. Can we control it? Dr. Kate Williams appeared on the main screen from her laboratory. We've made some progress. The field responds to human emotions and intentions. When we focus on peace and cooperation, it seems to become less aggressive. And when we don't? Asked President Franklin. Then it continues to expand and change everything it touches, Kate replied. We estimate it will cover the entire galaxy within 2 years. Ambassador Carol Stevens spoke up from her office. I've been meeting with representatives from dozens of liberated species. They're grateful for their freedom, but they're also afraid of us. Afraid how? Pete Jackson asked. They've seen what we can do to our enemies. They're worried about what happens if we decide they're enemies too. President Franklin looked around the room. What are our options? Kate Williams had been working on this question for months. We have 3 choices. First, we can try to shut down the quantum field completely. But that might be impossible now. It's become self-sustaining. Second choice, we can try to control it. Focus it on specific goals like terraforming dead worlds or cleaning up environmental damage. Make it a tool for building instead of destroying. And the third option, Kate was quiet for a moment. We can let it continue as it is. In 2 years, the entire galaxy will be quantum structured for human-compatible life. Other species will adapt, or, well, they might not. The room fell silent. They were talking about the future of every living thing in the galaxy. There's something else, Kate continued. We've detected quantum signatures from other galaxies. The field might not stop at the edge of the Milky Way. General Jackson leaned forward. Are you saying this could spread to other galaxies? It's possible. The quantum field doesn't recognize galactic boundaries. If it continues to grow, it could eventually affect the entire universe. President Franklin looked at the faces around the table. 6 months ago, they had been a small collection of human colonies just trying to survive. Now they were responsible for the fate of everything. Dr. Williams, he said, how long do we have to make this decision? Based on current expansion rates. About 6 months before the field becomes too large to control. Then we have 6 months to figure out how to be responsible for a galaxy, Franklin said. And maybe more than that. Admiral Carter stood up. I'll coordinate with our fleets to monitor the situation. We need to know immediately if the field starts affecting friendly species. I'll work with the liberated worlds, said Ambassador Stevens. We need to build trust and show them we're not the NIGMA Empire. As the meeting ended, Jake Morrison sent a message from his ship. Command, we're detecting new activity at the edge of the galaxy. Unknown ships approaching from outside. Our galaxy. President Franklin looked at the message. What kind of ships? Large ones, sir. Military configuration. They're staying just outside the quantum field boundary. Kate Williams checked her instruments. They're studying us, taking measurements of the quantum field. Someone out there is trying to figure out what we are. Should we make contact? Asked Ambassador Stevens. Not yet, President Franklin decided. Let's see what they do first, but be ready for anything. Dr. Alex Turner had been quiet during the meeting, but now he spoke up. There's something we haven't talked about. The other species in our galaxy. They're changing too. What do you mean? Admiral Carter asked. The quantum field isn't just making space more human-friendly. It's making other species more compatible with us. Their DNA is slowly adapting. In a few generations, we might all be genetically similar. The room fell silent again. They weren't just conquering the galaxy. They were transforming every living thing in it. Is that good or bad? President Franklin asked. I don't know, Alex replied honestly. But it's happening whether we want it or not. Outside Earth's solar system, the unknown ships continued their observations. Inside the largest vessel, beings that looked like crystalline spiders watched the quantum field's expansion with growing concern. The contamination is spreading faster than predicted, their commander reported to distant masters. If it reaches our galaxy, our entire civilization will be at risk. Then we must act before it spreads further, came their reply. Prepare the fleet. We cannot allow these creatures to threaten the natural order of the universe. But they didn't know what the NIGMA had learned too late. Some warnings should be heeded, and humanity had already given theirs. The quantum field pulsed gently around Earth, responding to the collective will of billions of humans who just wanted to live in peace. But peace, they were learning, sometimes came at a price that others had to pay. In 6 months, they would have to decide what kind of galactic citizens they wanted to be. The choice would affect not just their galaxy, but possibly every galaxy within reach of their expanding influence. The war with the NIGMA was over. The real challenge was just beginning. 1 year had passed since Commander Zixthara's final transmission. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking out at what used to be the heart of the NIGMA Empire. Now it was empty space dotted with human colonies and ships from dozens of freed species. Survey complete, Admiral, reported his science officer, Dr. Phil Martinez. The Andromeda system shows no signs of NIGMA presence, just like all the others. Any traces of what happened to them? Jake asked. None. Sir, it's like they simply stopped existing. No bodies, no ruins, no evidence they were ever here, except for the monuments other species built to remember their victims. Jake nodded. The NIGMA Empire had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. Now the only proof they had ever existed was in the stories of the species they had enslaved. Dr. Sarah Kim, the fleet's cultural specialist, spoke up from her station. Admiral, the Kelrani delegation is ready to meet with us about establishing trade relations. Good. Set up the meeting in conference room A. Jake made his way through the ship's corridors. The walls hummed softly with quantum energy. Every human ship now carried the field with it, making space safer for humanity and its allies. But Jake still wondered about the cost. In the conference room, Ambassador Carol Stevens was already meeting with representatives from 12 different species. They had all been slaves of the NIGMA. Now they were free, but uncertain about the future. The Terran Federation guarantees the independence of all liberated worlds, Carol was saying. We're not here to replace the NIGMA as your rulers. The Kelrani Ambassador, a tall being that looked like a walking tree, spoke carefully. Your words are kind, Ambassador Stevens, but your species has power beyond anything we have seen. How do we know you will not change your minds? Because we learned from watching what the NIGMA did, Carl replied. We saw what happens when one species tries to control all others. We don't want that kind of galaxy. The Zephyrian representative, resembling a blue dolphin with arms, added, Your quantum field continues to spread. Our scientists say it will cover nearby galaxies within a decade. Are you planning to expand beyond the Milky Way? Karar looked uncomfortable. It was a question humanity was still trying to answer. We're working to control the field's expansion. Dr. Williams and her team have made progress. On Earth, Dr. Kate. Williams was indeed making progress, but not the kind that would comfort the alien delegates. She and Dr. Alex Turner had discovered something troubling about the quantum field. Alex, look at these readings, Kate said, pointing to her computer. Screen. The field isn't just expanding randomly. It's responding to threats. What kind of threats? Remember those ships Jake detected at the edge of the galaxy? The ones studying us? The field has started moving toward them faster than normal expansion would explain. Alex studied the data. It's like the field sees them as hostile and is trying to reach them first. That's exactly what it's doing. The quantum field has become a defense system for humanity and our allies. And it's getting smarter. Kate's communication device beeped. President Joe Franklin appeared on the screen. Dr. Williams, we need an update on the field status. We're getting reports of increased activity near the galactic rim. Mr. President, the field is reacting to potential threats. Those unknown ships are preparing for some kind of action, and the field is responding. Can you stop it? Kate hesitated. We've learned to influence the field through meditation and focused intention. But stopping it completely might not be possible anymore. It's become part of humanity's collective unconscious. What does that mean in simple terms? It means the field responds to what humans feel and fear, not just what we consciously decide. If we feel threatened, it becomes more aggressive. If we feel peaceful, it becomes gentler. President Franklin looked worried. So our emotions control a force that can dissolve entire civilizations? I'm afraid so, sir. Far beyond the edge of the galaxy, the Vexhari Empire prepared for war. Their crystalline ships gathered in massive formations, weapons charged with energies that could crack planets. War Emperor Krixanoth commanded from his flagship, a vessel the size of a small moon. Status report, he ordered his subordinates. All fleets are in position, War Emperor, came the reply. 1 million ships ready for assault. The human contamination will be cleansed from this galaxy. And their quantum field? Our shields should protect us long enough to reach their worlds. Once we destroy Earth, the field should collapse. War Emperor Krixanoth studied the tactical displays. His scouts had been watching the humans for months. He had seen what happened to the NIGMA, but he was not impressed. The NIGMA had been weak, dependent on their harvesting technology. The Vexhari were different. They were pure warriors. Begin the attack, he commanded. The Vexhari fleet moved into the galaxy like a tide of crystal death. Their ships were beautiful and terrible, glowing with internal fire. But as they crossed the boundary where the quantum field began, something unexpected happened. The field didn't attack them directly. Instead, it began to change them. The crystal that made up their ships started to resonate in new ways. The energy that powered their weapons began to flow differently. War Emperor called his science officer. Our ships are experiencing quantum fluctuations. All systems are still functional, but something is changing. Ignore it, Krixanoth ordered. Continue the advance. On Earth, every human suddenly felt the same thing. A cold presence had entered their galaxy. Something hostile and alien was coming toward them. The quantum field responded instantly. Dr. Williams watched her instruments in amazement. The field just doubled its density. It's pulling energy from surrounding space to strengthen itself. Why? Asked Alex. Because 1,000,000 humans just felt the same threat at the same time. The field is mobilizing every bit of power it can find. President Franklin received the alert at the same time as every other human leader. All citizens, came the emergency broadcast, remain calm. Unknown forces have entered our galaxy. Our defenses are responding automatically. The Vex-Hari fleet continued its advance for 6 hours before War Emperor Krixanoth realized something was wrong. His ships were still moving, but they were changing. The crystal hulls were becoming transparent. The weapon systems were losing power. Report, he demanded. War Emperor, we are experiencing molecular breakdown. Not destruction, transformation. Our ships are becoming something else. Krixanoth looked at his own hands. They were still crystal, but they were becoming clearer, softer. What is happening to us? His science officer consulted her instruments with increasing panic. The human quantum field is not destroying us. It is converting us, making us compatible with human-type life. That is impossible. We are Vex-Hari. We are pure crystal beings. We cannot be converted. Sir, look at the main screen. Krixanoth turned to see his fleet. The 1,000,000 crystal ships were still there, but they were changing. The angular, sharp designs were becoming rounded and smooth. The aggressive weapon arrays were transforming into communication devices and exploration tools, and the crews were changing too. The Vex-Hari warriors were still crystal beings, but they no longer felt the urge to conquer and destroy. Instead, they felt curious about the humans. They wanted to learn about them, to understand them. This is not possible, Krixanoth whispered. But even as he said it, he felt his own aggressive instincts fading. The desire to wage war was being replaced by something else. A desire for peace. On his flagship, Admiral Jake Morrison watched the approaching fleet with interest rather than fear. They're not enemies anymore, he told his crew. The field has changed them. Should we make contact? Asked Dr. Martinez. Yes, but carefully. They're probably confused about what's happening to them. The first communication from the Vex-Hari fleet was not a demand for surrender. It was a question. Human vessels, came the transmission. We came here to destroy you, but we no longer wish to do so. What have you done to us? Jake responded personally. You've been touched by our quantum field. It doesn't destroy enemies. It makes them into friends. We didn't choose this. It just happens when hostile forces get too close to human space. Are we still ourselves? Yes, but different. You're still Vex-Hari, but now you're Vex-Hari who want peace instead of war. On the Vex-Hari flagship, War Emperor Krixanoth looked at his hands again. They were still crystal, but now they were beautiful instead of fearsome. He still felt proud of his people, but now he wanted to build things instead of destroying them. Prepare a diplomatic vessel, he ordered. I wish to meet with human leaders. We have much to discuss. His officers looked surprised. Sir, our orders were to destroy the humans, not negotiate with them. Our orders came from beings who did not understand what humans truly are, Krixanoth replied. We came to stop a threat. Instead, we have become something better than we were. 2 weeks later, President Franklin stood in the Galactic Council. Chambers on Earth. Representatives from over 100 species filled the seats. The Vex-Hari delegation sat in the front row, their crystal forms gleaming peacefully in the light. The threat we feared has become an opportunity, Franklin announced. The Vex-Hari Empire has agreed to join the Galactic Alliance. Their fleets will help us explore and protect the galaxy. Kriksnov stood to address the assembly. My people came here as conquerors. The human quantum field, hush.